I agree. Well, hey, let's talk about what we came from here for today.
What was that?
I don't
What
remember.
was it? Editors.
Editors, visual game editors. So
Yeah.
I,
Yay.
I'm a little confused
You're?
because I think I heard you say before that we were gonna start a new game or something, or we were gonna
Yeah,
do.
we were going to start a new game, but before we got to the new game, I wanted to make sure that we were solidly finished with the last game. And solidly finished with the last game for me is having several different game elements that have been demonstrated, which we've done, and having a way for people to expand beyond that and to edit visually. We got to a point where we had so many different kinds of elements in our game that the level editor technique that we were using, that text file,
Mhm.
was getting to be very unwieldy and very, very difficult for people to, I think, in fact, several people told me it was at a point where they couldn't pick it up and really understand what was going on. And so um, the beauty of the old design is when there were a few pieces and it was simple, it was very easy to understand. And that led to a clear understanding progressively. When you look at one file, you look at the code, you can kind of pull it all together, which is what I was trying to do. But now we've got such a complicated environment that we have to abandon the ability, in a sense, to have visibility of what our level code or our level storage will look like. It's no longer going to be human readable. We
Yeah.
have to give that up.
Well, yeah. We started out with platforms, a player, coins, spikes, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and even spikes. We didn't even start with spikes. We just had coins in like a round and a square platform, and that was it.
And so there was a real one-to-one correlation between the table that you were using for level design and
Hmm.
what actually showed up on the screen.
Right. We only had to have one table at first, and
Yeah.
then we started adding more things. We needed more tables and differentiating symbols and adding extra notation, and it just got crazy. And
Yeah, and then
so,
we got into missiles and turrets and all these other factors. So what I just want to stop for a moment and kind of highlight the fact that someone may in a real world situation may actually run into this, right? Where they start out with a very simple idea and then they go, ooh, it'd be great if we could add. And then, oh, what if we added this? And what if we added that, right? And as you go, you build out this great game that's a great concept, a lot of fun, but then, like you said, maybe become a little hard to wrap your brain around when you're trying to do the level design and stuff.
right, or you get to the point where you're like, I really got a lot of cool things here, but I'm so challenged by trying to just build a single level that I'm ready to give up.
Yeah.
Right? You can't test your idea out thoroughly enough because you can't build levels to test fast enough.
Mm.
So,
Okay.
so what I did was, at this point, what I'll commit today after the show will be the final version of this game, unless somebody asks us to make future changes, which I kind of don't think so. And what's going to be in there is going to be the original two versions of the game, which is a game with no wrapper, a game with a wrapper, the wrapper being splash screen and menu and all that stuff. And there'll be a new tool in there, which is the editor, which is what I'm showing right now. So the editor it's a standalone editor. It's not integrated in like I can't edit and then preview the level. I didn't go so far as to allow instant preview like I did on another editor previously. It wouldn't be too much work to do that, but it would have confused the discussion, and I really didn't want to make this take 2 episodes. So this editor, as you see it, will produce output, which then you'll have to copy to the game to consume, in a sense. But it's very simple. I'll show how it works. So what you're seeing on the screen here is our original game had an 8x8 grid, and that was the entire world. So I just stuck with that. If somebody wanted to in the future, they could make it a 10x10 grid or whatever, and they could adjust the editor and the player, in a sense, the game itself. No problem. It would be easy. We've talked about all this stuff in the previous episodes. Common.lua's got all the settings in there for how many rows and columns there are and such. So it's quite easy to adjust. So this is 8x8. And what you're seeing over here is basically there are three major components to this editor. Now there's dozens of ways to make an editor, but because we're dealing with a fixed level size, I made this editor sort of static in a sense. So there's an 8x8 grid here where you can select individual grids. The bottom tray is where you go to pick up your current piece and drag it onto the board to create elements within the game. And then if you click on any particular grid, you can edit details about that grid. Now, all grids can have coins, they can have the decoy pickup, and they can have spikes and a monster. And I still didn't fix this. I just noticed here that the monsters are not rotated in the editor. I'll fix that before I commit it. But, and that's basically it. So there is a section over here that gives details about the grid you've got selected, and then you can drag and drop things. And you'll notice as you drag and drop items onto the editor grid that some of these items present more details on the right. For example, the turrets, not only are you still able to have coins and other stuff on that grid, but now it knows that there's a turret there, and so you can select the type of turret and the orientation. So this is the fixed turret, which has 8 different orientations, all 45 degrees apart. Or we could drop a rotating turret, and then there's four types of rotating turrets. Turrets that rotate to the right by 90 degrees per step, rotate to the left 90 degrees per step, rotate to the right 45 degrees, etc. For this one, I animated the rotations so you can kind of get a sense of what's going on. So if you put 2 of these side by side, and then you reload the simulator, then you'll be able to see them active at the same time, so you get a sense of how they're behaving with each other or next to each other. Now, the editor is not meant to give you a perfect sense of what this level is going to behave like. For example, the tracks are not animated. So the vertical and horizontal tracks are not animated. But they do give you a sense of the green dot here, for example, is where so the track will be centered on this position, but it spans 3 blocks, and when the game plays, the track element will start on the green dot and move towards the red dot and then back and forth forever.
And when you say track, what are we talking about there?
This is the circular components that were on tracks. They move back and forth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have a horizontal and a vertically pathed round piece that moves back and forth that you can jump on, and then it'll move you and the round piece throughout the level.
So right. So that's one of the platform pieces, not necessarily a turret.
Yeah, not necessarily a turret. So everything, when you click on it and drag and drop it, it tells you what it is. For example, this is the start. Then you got a round platform. You got a vertical path, horizontal path, rotating laser turret, and the names are the names of the builder files. So it's very rudimentary, but this is designed for the programmer less than it is for a distribution editor, where you would pretty this up a little bit. So let me clear the level. This little pink block here, you just drag this onto a block to clear it, or you can click it and then click the block. Again, it's a very rudimentary editor, so I didn't include like a clear all button or anything like that. Let me just, whoops. There's also a problem with the editor. Sometimes when you drag these things, you'll notice that the pink block got stuck. You can simply reload. So for Windows people, that's Control-R. And for OS X folks, that's Command-R. And as you make changes, it automatically saves the level. So every time you click anywhere on the screen, on any of these blocks, or you drag something, it saves the level, so nothing is ever lost. So at any time, you can simply say, oh, something got goofed up here with my editor, Control-R, Command-R, continue. So it's a very programmer targeted editor.
So